Welcome to the Pin Leader Podcast, where strategic leaders get straight to the topics, strengthening our awareness and sharpening our minds. The Pin Leader Podcast is produced by Roar, a production division of Mays & Associates Ltd. Find out more at www.maysassociatesltd.com. Now here is your award-winning host, Dr. Shanda Gore.
And welcome to the Pin Leader Podcast. Today, our show is called From Olympic Ice to Global Impact. And I am so excited to have with me Mr. Scott Hamilton. He is an American Olympic champion figure skater, author, broadcaster, philanthropist. Born in Toledo, Ohio, he was adopted and raised in Bowling Green, and we're going to get to that, where he widely regarded as one of the most influential figures in the history of men's figure skating. Mr. Hamilton rose to prominence in the late 1970s and early 1980s. He won 4 consecutive U.S. national championships, 4 consecutive world championships between 1981 and 1984. He achieved international fame at the 1984 Winter Olympics, where he won the gold medal. Known for his speed, flow, musicality, and consistency, he emphasized complete, engaging skating rather than just extreme technical risk. After retiring from amateur competition, Mr. Hamilton enjoyed a successful professional career. He performed with the Ice Capades, founded the long-running Stars on Ice tour, served as a television commentator for major skating events, and he spent 40 years as a trusted commentator, including, of course, the Winter Olympics. Mr. Hamilton is a proud graduate of Bowling Green State University, where he earned a degree of business administration while training and competing as an elite athlete. He's also the author of several books, including memoirs and inspirational works that focus on resilience, mindset, faith, and overcoming adversity. He is a cancer survivor who overcame cancer and has lived for many years with a benign brain tumor. Mr. Hamilton founded the Scott Hamilton Cares Foundation to support cancer research and patient advocacy. Without further ado, welcome,
Oh,
Mr.
that
Scott
was a
Hamilton.
mouthful. That was a mouthful. I mean, it's like, do we have any time left? I do have one correction on the bio.
Oh, yes.
Only one, which is kind of miraculous because, yeah, I lived through all that. I never went to Bowling Green State University.
But that's what they had down.
I did. Well, here's the deal. I've been given, I think, 2 honorary degrees from there. One was in business, honorary, and the other one was a doctorate in entertainment and arts. So, so I've got 2 degrees from Bowling Green State University. Both, I never went to a class, but I graduated high school there. My dad was he spent every single day of his professional life as a professor at Bowling Green State University. That was his first job. That was his only job. Retired from there. My mom was a 2nd grade school teacher and went back, got her master's at Bowling Green so she could get into the education department in home economics, where she was into more marriage and family relations. So she was sort of my dad was very technical and very on it, very scientific. My mom was more the nurturer and kind of, helped people through a lot of stuff as she was going through her own. But yeah, so, I just was inducted last October into the Bowling Green State University Athletic Hall of Fame. And I said, I never went there, right? I didn't want to, they go,
They've got you in classes.
They said, we went through all the bylaws. You don't have to have gone to school. You just had to be influential and had made a remarkable thing. And so I think I was the first guy that started skating there that won an Olympic gold medal. I wasn't the first one to win an Olympic gold medal. That was Kenny Morrow and Mark Wells that were on the Miracle hockey team in 1980. They were the first ones that skated on that ice to earn an Olympic gold medal. I was in that Olympics, but was 5th. So, it's been a lot of really cool stuff. But my plan was to go there after my 2nd year in the junior level in competitive skating. But a sponsor came through. My parents ran out of money, so I was just going to go to school at Bowling Green. But a sponsor came along and offered to take over the skating expenses for my parents. And they said, okay, that'll work. And so I was able to skate another 8 years. And the first 4 were sort of foundational, as it were. And the last 4 were miraculous. So yeah, it was pretty cool. It was pretty cool.
That's
It's
amazing.
been a great run, that's for sure. I never thought to dream for any of it. I still don't I don't have an easy time processing any of it, like what it means and why me and any of that. But here we are.
Well, I think it says something, especially through your autobiographies and really your experience from a leadership point. You are always have been. I've watched interviews with you, very humble. When you say
Oh,
that,
well.
but you've worked hard to get where you are.
Yeah, but it's when it comes down to it, it's all Jesus. At the end of the day, you connect the dots. And I've had that opportunity to connect the dots. I was a vessel. It had nothing to do with me. I was just try to show up, do my work. Try to cooperate and participate in everything. But at the end of the day, everything, all glory goes to the Lord, and we just have to, you know it's all too big for us to even begin to comprehend. So, over the last probably 25 years, I've really dedicated most everything into kind of learning, growing, developing, and understanding who I am in this world, and who the creator of the all known things, what he created me to do. And I think it's still evolving, and there's still a lot of stuff out there that I think I'm supposed to be participating in, but all glory goes up. I could
Believer in
be,
that
I'm not going to
too.
be doing this. This is not going to be one of those interviews where I'm patting my, no, it's like, I know I'm a short, bald guy that was sick a lot, that got to experience some really cool things. And, it's like, I'm grateful, I'm just grateful, but, and through it all, we're human beings. I was a knucklehead for so many of those years. I didn't get it, honestly, the greatest thing that ever happened to me was being diagnosed with cancer in 1997. It was definitely the fork in the road. And, Yogi Berra says, when you get to the fork in the road, take it.
That's right.
And I had to learn. It was one of those things. It's like, okay, everything that I've experienced and everything that I hold on to as sort of mine, it can change in one doctor visit. And it did. And I was sidelined for months. I had a full thing of chemotherapy, and then I had a 38 staple surgery. And yeah, I mean, my life changed drastically in all of that. And I just decided, instead of, looking back or looking ahead, I just felt like it was time for me to look up. And it changed everything. I wouldn't have my family if it weren't for cancer. I wouldn't have my children if it weren't for cancer. There's so much of my identity is wrapped up into raising money to fund the right research to make sure that no one has to die of this disease ever again. And that's kind of my goal. And I only make big, huge goals because that's kind of how things have gone for me. It's like, my mom always thought we were going to the Olympics, right? But I was never focused. I didn't know how to apply myself to every aspect of the sport. And then, so I kind of like plodded along, and I had some success, but I had a lot of failure. And so when she passed, she died of cancer. I just had to figure out, how I wanted to honor and to mourn her. And I decided to take her with me to the ice. And so that took all the distractions away. It took all of the, sort of doubts away. It's like, yeah, you're running late. No, be on time, honor your mom. Okay.
Yes.
I don't
Yes.
really like figures. put your head down and get to work. Honor your mom. Summer run-throughs, there's long programs in altitude. I think I'll wait till the fall. No, start today. Honor your
Yes.
mom. And so the last time she saw me compete, I came in 9th at nationals, which, I always joke that if you're a girl in skating and you medal, you're very, very good. But in many respects, if you're a boy in figure skating and you don't medal, you probably should be thinking about doing something else.
Has that been a philosophy there?
There's not as many, there's just not as many.
No.
So, it just comes down to, just not attaching yourself to an outcome, but being open to it. But in the meantime, let's participate in it. It's so easy in our culture to quit.
Yes. Yes.
There's so many things against us. Well, it's just, I don't have the right coach, or we just don't have enough money, or, my rink isn't really respected. The skating club's brand new. I don't really, we don't have any size or scope. And I heard a judge tell my coach that it's really nice that I'm working so hard, but I'm too short to be competitive internationally. And, so you get all these naysayers and you get all the things, no, it's not you. That doesn't belong to you. We had the year that I came in dead last at nationals in novice level because I fell 5 times. I'm sitting next to one of my friends, and he was my age, but he was pretty good. He did really well that year. And we're at this celebration party and his parents threw this big party, and all the skaters were invited. And they had a long table full of food, and they had a long table with drinks and everything. And we were 14 years old, and my friend goes, "Hey, go over there and grab me a beer." Because you want nonsense, right? We're going to be nonsense guys, right? And I said to him, I go, "It's right there. Get your own."
That's right.
And he said, No. I have something to lose. You don't.
No way. So
these are the things that I think people hear every single day. These are the things that would absolutely paralyze young people today. If somebody just, and I'm not saying that young people are weak. I'm just saying that with all the voices coming at us in social media and bullying, which is natural, it happens all the time in schools and everything else. But if all these voices are coming at you, suicide's an epidemic for young people right now.
It is.
And
it's amazing. I've heard these statistics and people talking about go home and check on your child, and go home and make sure, even going off to college, check to see how they are mentally.
But here's what, if there's any young person listening right now that's thinking that life isn't worth living, it's like, stop. Right now. Your life has so much meaning and promise and quality that you're only allowing other people to pour into you. And you're not looking at yourself honestly, saying that of the 100 billion people born to this universe, 100 billion people have been born to this planet in the history of mankind. You're the only you. And that makes you perfect. So stop it. There's so many people that love you. There's so many people that want to pour into you, that you just got to participate in the good stuff, not just the toxic, terrible stuff. I have a pastor friend of mine, and all he does is talk to high school kids. That's all he does. That's his whole job. And sometimes he'll talk to 3 high schools in a day, and he travels all over the Southeast, and he's starting to travel more places. But his whole platform is you matter. And he just has a great message, and he'll send me these reports, and he'll say, today I took my You Matter message to the high school with 496 kids were in the audience. 400 of them decided to forgive someone who had hurt them. 275 took my You Matter pledge. 34 suicides were stopped.
So let me ask you this. Let me ask you this, because you just hit on something about with resilience, that you have this constant resilience. You actually talked about this through you've got resilience for your life. How has that mindset helped you navigate both the success and the adversity. And you talked about your mom and you talked about your faith. But, you know, we've got leaders listening
Yeah.
that are
It's
challenged right now. They've got
everything
challenges.
is in the response.
Mm,
Everything is how you respond.
okay.
So when you're a skater, let's break it down to the very basic learning blocks. The first thing you learn when you go to a skating class is they teach you how to get up, because you're going to fall.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the first thing you learn. The second thing you learn is how to fall, right? So they know you're going to fall down. Let's get to that first. Now, the second thing we're going to learn is how the best way to fall down where you don't get hurt. So in that, you know, I wrote a book called Finish First. And in that book, I
Yes.
had to estimate how many times I've fallen down on the ice. And so the minimum was 41,600 times.
Oh my goodness.
So here's the thing about falling down 41,600 times. 41,600 times I've fallen. 41,600 times I've gotten up.
Yeah.
Now, when you build a habit of getting up, and you build a habit that in order to learn this skill, I have to fail X amount of times, and there's no real set number. It's just all of a sudden you do it, your body goes, oh, that's how. You know, you've been beta testing these things all these years. And so then you get into, you know, now I'm going to take a test, and it's like tracing the figure eights. Oh, I failed. Why did I fail? Well, I've got to work on this, and this wasn't very good. And then, you know, okay, so I'm getting feedback. Oh, good. Then you get pulled, which getting pulled means in each test you have like 8 different figures that you have to do. Some have turns in the top, some have turns in the middle, some have 3 circles, some have loops in it. You know, you have to learn all these skills. And if you have to get a certain point total in order to pass the test. Now, if you're too far behind that you'll never get to the point total, they will stop the test and they'll escort you off the ice saying, you know, to try harder next time. You don't get feedback. It's just,
that
you're
is your
terrible.
feedback. Wait a minute. Your feedback is getting escorted off the ice.
Yeah,
is
so
what you're
they can
saying.
make room for the next skater that has a chance of
Okay.
passing. We're not going to waste any more time here. And so I got pulled a bunch, and you know, but then I'd pass, right?
Mhm.
And so in that, you kind of build a muscle of, well, if it didn't work, I'm going to try it a different way. That didn't work, I'm going to try it a different way. And so when I do like my speaking engagements now, especially if it's a business platform, I'll ask the question, how many people in this room have failed?
Mm.
And if 100% of the room doesn't raise their hand, I go, okay, if you didn't raise your hand, either you're not listening or you're lying, because everybody fails. So now if we had to list the ingredients of failure, right? So like if you had to list the ingredients for brownies, there's like 5, you know, is baking soda and cocoa and, you know, flour and all these things, and egg, I don't know. But if you had to list all the ingredients for failure, what do you think they would be? How many ingredients? Let's just say to start there. How many ingredients?
I would think there's 16 if you're making it from scratch.
In failure, there's only one.
Oh.
Yeah, it's called information.
Mm.
That's it.
Mhm.
That's the only thing. With failure comes information. That didn't work. Let's try it again in a different way. Or let's try this, or let's try. So John Wooden, the famous basketball coach from UCLA, he was
Mhm.
quoted as saying, "My teams never lose." And everybody's like, "Well, I've seen, you know, you've had a lot of wins, but there have been some losses." And he goes,
Losses,
"No, no, no, no,
yes.
no. Either they win or they learn.
Yes.
There is no loss. There is no
Yes.
loss. Loss means that you now sacrifice something. Well, maybe a little self-esteem, a little bit of, you know,
A
joy
little
on
bit
the
of
night.
ego. A little
But there's
ego.
always something that says, here's why, and let's move forward. So, you know, going back, it was really wild that I found myself over the years, I would take my failures and I'd put them in a bag, and then I'd put it over my shoulder and I'd carry them around. And that's toxic. I mean, it's hard, and it takes a lot of effort to kind of carry those failures around all the time. And it was really wild that, and it was unexpected. The morning I got baptized, the morning I gave my life to the Lord, I went back to my car, and my wife and my son, who's a baby, they were going out to have brunch with her best friend, right? Nothing like a couple girls talking about the baby and fussing and having, and I'm going back to the house to watch football, right? So I'm like, I'm out. I'm going to put my feet up. I may order a pizza and I'm going to watch football. And she came up to the car because we drove separately for that reason. And she said, "How do you feel?"
Mm.
And I just said, "Lighter,"
Mm-hmm.
because putting all my failures at the feet of the cross allowed me to drop the bag. And I still remember those things. And I still have a lot of regrets. But at the same time, I know that for me to hang on to those things and carry the bag is denying all the things that have been done for me to allow me to drop the bag and move forward.
Thank you for catching part 1 of our show with Scott Hamilton, From Olympic Ice to Global Impact. Please catch our show next week as we do part 2. Thank you to the listeners who are tuning in, sharing the show. We appreciate you. I also want to say thank you to our sponsors too. So thank you for all your home, auto, and life insurance needs. Contact Brian Davis, State Farm. Talking about a good neighbor. He's been good neighbor to us, and he's a great sponsor. And also, I'd like to thank those that are working with the Maine Intelligence Network. We want to invite you to come be a part of the Focus Network of entrepreneurs, leaders, executives, and authors committed to sharpening leadership and strategy while scaling ventures with intention. And this is a place where practical thinking meets high caliber connections. So check out the Maine at www.maesassociatesltd.com. Select Maine on the homepage to learn more and sign up for how you can get connected. And of course, until next time.
The Pen Leader podcast is hosted by Dr. Shanda Gore and brought to you by Mays & Associates Ltd, creating customized solutions for growth in the areas of leadership development, strategic planning, and culture building. Find out more at www.maysassociatesltd.com. Don't forget to subscribe to the Pen Leader podcast and share with others.